we don't have that currently. We wanted to create a fun entertainment piece for our customer base. We have the distance finder to go along with it. It'll match your S3 Max, so you can get it in black or navy if you want to. And we've been pleasantly surprised with that product already. We started pre-sale about a week ago on it and have sold, upwards of 1,000 plus units on pre-sale. So people seem to be pretty excited about, Blue Tees coming out with a speaker.
Well, Taylor, one of the things that I'm impressed with is not only the technology advancement that you guys have done, but also with the cost of the technology that you do have. I think that's a big tribute to you guys.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we knew coming into the space, especially on the rangefinder side, that it, been dominated by a couple players, and they're pretty pricey items, and for good reason. They're fantastic products. They're very accurate, and they make the companies in that upper echelon definitely make solid products. We felt like we could compete, though. We felt like, especially with how we've built our business, everybody works remotely. There's some things that we do that we don't have the massive overhead that some of these big players in the rangefinder space have. And so we've been able to pass that on to our consumers and our B2B customers as well. And so we kind of see ourselves, our S3 Max is, retail is $259.99. What we feel is our closest competitors, close to, $400 to $500. Yeah. So a lot of times we find that it's difficult for people to go take $400 or $500 out of their pocket when they're visiting their local country club to buy something. But in our price range, it seems to be a much better comfort zone for them.
Yeah, and in your rangefinder, not only is the cost great, but also you've come out with the blue and the navy, but you've also added, since you and I talked at the PGA show, another color, which has also been very popular.
Yeah, you're talking about the pink unit.
Yeah.
And we kind of came out with a soft pink unit that wasn't, overwhelmingly hot pink or anything like that. Definitely a fashion statement, though. Has a beautiful pink rangefinder case, and is definitely becoming more and more popular, not just with female golfers, but anybody that's looking to make a statement on the course. So it's a fun color for sure, and we've gotten a great response to it.
Yeah, I'm always afraid to get a black one because I'll always think that I'm going to forget it in the cart. So I've got the navy. I think the pink would be great. But let's also talk about the award that you won at the PGA show by the ING industry. You guys were honored. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I heard that we were considered or in the running for that award, and then ended up coming to fruition at the PGA show. We were all shocked and surprised. We're obviously a very new brand, and it just kind of validates a lot of what we're doing out there, and on the customer service side to developing products and everything else. And the award was fantastic, and we were all extremely flattered to receive it. And I think there's just going to continue to be more good things to come from Blue Tees. I'm seeing our company is, since you and I spoke last, Rich, it's grown exponentially in the sense of personnel and staff and worldwide staff, and now we're selling internationally pretty heavily.
Oh, that's great.
And so it's just a ton of fun, and awards like this obviously provide us a really big boost, not just internally, but other people seeing it as well.
You bet. Well, give us the website so our listeners can go to it, Taylor.
Yeah, so it's just going to be blueteesgolf.com. So just the full name spelled out. And I will say heading into Father's Day, there's going to be some fantastic promotions going on all of our products. We just launched, which will be added. They're on the website now for pre-sale, but not only the speakers, but a full line of accessories with a really cool magnetic towel that also has a feature I've ever seen on a towel. It has a really cool rubber scrubber to clean your club face and clean out your grooves. Really cool kind of hybrid towel that fits into our magnetic product ecosystem that we have. And then also my favorite new product, which is funny, but it's just beautifully designed by our designing group, and is our new divot repair tool. And so we have that coming as well. It's a small accessory, but fantastic branding for Blue Tees. And then I think our customers will see, like our unboxing of our S3 Max and any of our other products. Everything's just super premium at a really good price.
You got it. Taylor, thanks for being with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Rich.
That is Taylor Herber of Blue Tees Golf talking about their rangefinder, very reasonably priced, and their other products that are coming out. Just a great company and a great guy. Who has the best deep dish pizza? Well, it's only CJ's Italian Restaurant. They've got it. No one else does, and it is the best. They're across from Parker's on Mallory Street on St. Simon's Island. They make their deep dish and thin crust pizza. Also cauliflower, made fresh daily. Also with homemade salad dressings, meatballs, and their famous hoagies. Great apps, pasta dishes, beer and wine. They open 7 days a week at 4:30. Take in or take out. It's great either way. Check out their full menu, one of the island's favorite, for over 30 years. CJ'sItalianRestaurant.com.
I'm Blair O'Neill here with Cobra Puma, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Glad you're with us. Our next guest is Dr. Jeremy James, who has helped golfers for decades to overcome pain. He is also founder and CEO of Golf Forever. Good morning, Dr. Jeremy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Well, you've worked with golfers for quite a long time and Olympic athletes on overcoming pain and getting back into sports. When did you start, and how did you start getting into this kind of doctoring, I guess?
First of all, thanks for having me.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
Really enjoy talks like this. So, I had a clinic for 10 years out in Aspen, Colorado, and we were kind of the last resort for people with chronic low back pain, meaning low back pain that they've had for a very long time and that they had tried many of the things to get rid of. And as you could probably imagine, a big part of that population was golfers, and that's because golf is a repetitive, asymmetrical movement that involves your lower back, your lumbar spine. And so
Mm-hmm.
I quickly in my career had to learn a lot about golf and learn a lot about what the swing does to your body and how you can be proactive to prevent that from harming you and causing pain. And what we quickly found was that the same strategies that you use to get a golfer to prevent or relieve pain also improve the golf game, because the mechanisms you're trying to do are the same. You're trying to improve core strength, improve hip mobility, improve upper back mobility, etc. So that was the genesis of this, and then ultimately we just tried to, when we started this thing, reproduce digitally what we were doing in person in my clinic.
Well, and that gave you the opportunity to start a couple of forever sites, and then you have started Golf Forever. Tell our listeners more about Golf Forever.
Thanks. So as I mentioned, that was the genesis of this thing, was to teach, golfers everywhere the same thing we were teaching in my clinic. But over time, it's morphed where now pain relief is only about 20 to 25%. It's the reason for only about 20 to 25% of the people that join our program.
Right.
And the rest of them are just trying to learn how to improve their flexibility, get stronger, and improve their golf game. But, regardless of the reason for joining, it's almost, the basics are almost always the same. As we're using a program you can do at your home via a mobile application to improve your body, and by improving your body, you're improving golf. So I think it's, things have changed so much in the last few years with
Right.
golf that golfers now understand that, improving your body and being athletic and doing it specific for golf is a big part of improving your game. It's going to have a much bigger impact than, going out and hitting 100 range balls. While that is important too, this is a much more important part of it.
So how do you become a member, or how do you get the app for Golf Forever?
Sure. So we offer a 30-day free trial, and we used to just offer a couple of days. We started with 2 days and then 7 days. And what we found was, the more time we gave people to use this, the more likely they were to commit
Okay.
over the long term. So you can go either to our website, golfforever.com, or to the App Store or Google Play Store, download the app, and you get to try it free for 30 days. And you're going to take an assessment when you start. It's a combination of questions and actual exercises. You give us feedback on those questions and exercises, and we provide you with a customized program that you can do right in your home. That's going to, on day one, start to improve your flexibility, strength, balance, coordination, etc., to improve your golf game, relieve any pain you may have, and prevent injuries in the future so that you can play for a very long time at a very high level.
Well, you've said that golfers over the years have been given some terrible exercise and, more importantly, flexibility advice. Can you tell us more about that?
I can, and I think it's important to say that it's pretty easy to do cardiovascular exercise, and cardiovascular exercise is going to give you a long life in general. If you go and you ride your exercise bike, or you go and walk, 18 holes, that's going to give you cardiovascular health,
Right.
cancers, etc. But when it comes to strength training, and by strength training, I mean, where you're doing exercises with some form of resistance, you have to do those things properly, and generally you need some guidance. You can't just kind of jump on and get started like you can with cardiovascular exercise. And a lot of the information that's out there is very poor. I'll pick on men a little bit, particularly with men. Us men, we want to lift as heavy as amount of weight as we can right
Sure.
off the bat, right? And we
Yep.
we end up, often hurting ourselves in the process. So a lot of the guidance out there that's not customized on YouTube, what have you, is going to have you doing some really holistic, kind of challenging exercises right out of the gate. And it's crucial to, learn what your limitations are in the beginning so that you can focus on those and improve those and progress over time rather than jumping into a one-size-fits-all program, which can end up getting hurt or
Right.
not being as efficient as it should be.
All right. So, Dr. Jeremy, let's say a golfer's got 10 minutes from his car to the cart to the first tee. What should they do before teeing off?
That's a great question. So almost every golfer, because of the way that we spend our days sitting down often, at a computer on a smart device, you're gonna get that hunched over shoulder position. You're gonna lack muscle activation in your hips. So if you got 10 minutes, you want to do really two things. You want to improve your upper back mobility. That's like kind of from the rib cage up,
Okay.
so that you'll have enough motion in your backswing and follow through. And you want to fire up those muscles in your hips, your gluteal muscles, and muscles in your buttocks, so that you can generate that ground up power for your swing. And that's a lot of what we teach in the program. And you'd be surprised, just, 1 or 2 days of doing that, you get a lot of benefit, right off the bat.
All right. So you've got this. We want to stretch out, become more flexible. So how did you and Justin Leonard get together?
So Justin, I have to say, is just such a wonderful guy. I couldn't be happier to have partnered with him in the beginning with this thing. So Justin, he actually just moved, but he lived in Aspen, Colorado, which is where I live. It's a small community, as you can imagine, small town, 2,500 people. And we knew each other, kind of casually. And we both lived the same and believed in the same kind of lifestyle and philosophy when it comes to life and health. So
Okay.
when I thought of doing this, it was a no-brainer to talk to him. He was encouraged by some mutual friends and former patients of mine to get involved. And as soon as we talked about the idea, he was just immediately excited about it. And I got to tell you, it really has been a wonderful fit. Couldn't be happier about pairing with him, years ago.
And did that lead up to your relationship with Masters winner Scotty Scheffler?
In a way, it did. It was not a straight line to Scotty, but they're both Dallas people. A lot of the same trainers, acquaintances, and so what ultimately led us to Scotty was Scotty's chiropractor and trainer, Dr. Troy Van Biesen, who is one of our Golf Forever instructors. And Troy joined the team a couple of years ago, and he did that because Troy and I specifically share the same philosophy and approach to golf fitness and pain relief. And so Troy is a really well-known chiropractor and athletic trainer down in Dallas, Texas. He has a lot of really well-known, players other than just Scotty, but that's how we got to Scotty. And Scotty is just, sitting and talking to the guy, you can't believe he's in his 20s. He is really such a mature, humble, just all around good person. So just like Justin, I couldn't be happier than to have.
Yeah, he just seems like, down to earth and just, kind of a regular guy who just happens to have an unbelievable skill in the game of golf. That's great. So what is the cost?
So we have a couple of ways of, of subscribing to the program. You can either pay $24.99 a month, and that's obviously a monthly payment, and you can cancel at any time. There's no commitment there, and again, you get the free 30 days to start with no obligation. Or you can do the 30 free days, and then once the 30 days is up, pay for a year in advance for $199, and that buys you an entire 12 months of Golf Forever. And for both subscription packages, it's unlimited use, and you can use it anywhere, anytime.
Okay. Well, Dr. Jeremy, thank you for being with us. I know I'm going to go up. I've been up on the website. I want to go up and look at it more. I've watched some of Scotty's, and they're just incredible stuff. Really good stuff. Happy to have you with us, and thank you for taking time to be with us this morning.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Dr. Jeremy James, appreciate his time and most of all the info on Golf Forever, golfforever.com. Coming up, our next guest will be David Bass of David Bass Golf. A lot of interesting things, especially if you've been fitted. You may not have been fitted properly, and he'll tell you more about that. But are you looking, speaking of getting fitted, for new clubs? We'll try the new Mizuno 922, 923, and 925s to improve your game. They will help you reach beyond, and then add to that the Mizuno driver, the fairway metals, the hybrids are incredible, and you're on your way to your game improvement. And try the new models of Mizuno putters, blade, and mallets. Check out everything at MizunoGolf.com. Mizuno Golf, reach beyond.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Winters, sports psychologist, and you're listening to The Back Nine Boys.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Glad you're with us. Good morning to you. And we also want to say good morning to David Bass, who began his career, I know I'm going to tell about his age, quite a long time ago. I'll just go there. And he's internationally recognized as a top club fitter. Good morning, David, my friend. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Rich. How's everything going with you, sir?
Everything is doing well. I know you're in the middle of moving and all this other kind of stuff, and I appreciate you taking time this morning. But you teach, you fit, you restore, you design. What do you love the most about what you're doing?
I can promise you that the most interesting thing and fulfilling thing is starting a new golfer, especially a young golfer, and spending time on the course and going through the fundamentals and the basic concepts of golf.
Well, you and I met a long time ago in North Carolina, and one of the questions I've always wanted to ask you, when you fit someone or meet someone, you have to have that chemistry between you and them and you. What do you specifically look for in order to help somebody improve their game?
It depends on where we start, but typically when I meet someone, I want to be able to have a conversation about what their goals are,
Okay.
and let them talk about where they like to be, and then we point everything in that direction. The whole conversation is about skill, it's about fundamentals, and also about taking a look at their equipment. Once I start talking about their equipment, their eyes kind of light up, because most teachers typically don't get into that conversation with the client.
All right. And you sent me a question. Why are most club fittings not geared for success?
The reason that is because in the world, not necessarily just in America,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a shortage of the proper education for people who want to or trying to fit golf clubs. So it's a lot of it has to do in their training and understanding the full aspects of going through somebody's bag, looking for total weight, shaft weight, club head, frequency, length, grip size, and then taking them into a physical analysis situation and measuring their wrist to floor, their fingertips to the floor, their hand size, their glove size, looking at their physical makeup, body type, and also when you initially have them start hitting some balls, to be able to discern what their natural rhythm and tempo is. Typically someone who has been ill-fitted, and most people have been ill-fitted,
Okay.
clubs that are either too light or too flexible or too stiff, one or the other. And what happens is it takes them off their natural rhythm and their natural tempo.
Okay.
So when someone spends enough time to train properly, to be able to watch somebody hit balls and say, well, this golf club is causing this effect in their golf swing and in their golf ball flight,
Right.
we know what direction to go.
Okay. And you said, and I kind of agree, well, I definitely agree with you, is that getting fitted properly for a set of clubs, that's when you really want to go and take lessons with your properly fitted clubs.
At the very least, when somebody comes to me and they want to take lessons, I would like to take at least one or two of their clubs to my shop and to build them closer to what they actually need. And then we'll do the first few lessons with those clubs.
Okay.
Because it really doesn't do a whole lot of good to try to teach someone to play golf with equipment they cannot feel.
Okay. So when you meet with somebody, they're going to tell you, well, I think my ball does this. I usually hit it this far, which usually is not as far as they think. What do you find most golfers not doing that you think they need to improve?
Well, first of all, it is a little bit astounding to me that most people are totally unaware of these basic fundamentals of golf. Grip, stance, posture, alignment. If they are aware of those things, they don't understand them.
Right.
The second thing is that once they even get set up to it properly, most people do not have a feel for or a working understanding of how to start the motion.
Okay.
So in the functionality of the golf swing, this is how I describe it. A improper position or motion sets off a chain reaction or series of improper positions or motions.
Okay.
And in reverse, a proper position or motion sets off a series of more proper positions or motions.
Very, very good point. And let me ask you this. When you watch somebody take a practice swing and their practice swing looks pretty good, I mean, they're coming back straight, they're doing that, and then they step up to the ball and they start coming inside on their real swing. Is it tempo? Is it rhythm? Is it both? Or is it just that they're just trying to hit the ball so hard they forget about what they just did in their practice swing?
So there's what we call a human tendency, which is to convert the swinging motion into the hitting motion. And even if they make a swing with their practice swing, and what happens when they set up to it, the mind shifts to hit, and it totally changes the way the golf club works, and also changes the way the swing works and feels. This is why, obviously, for someone to have a set of golf clubs built to where the total weight is good and the head weight is good, so it will try to help them get back onto their natural rhythm. Typically, if someone, I gave a lesson to a guy yesterday who's a 34-year-old guy, and he's got like 85-gram regular shafts in his irons. So no matter what he does, he can't ever, number one, he can't feel the club on the downswing, and number two is he can't find the center of the club face.
All right, let me ask you this. Are you one that feels you've got to have all the same kind of manufacturers in your bag, or do you think that there's also a way that you can mix manufacturers in your bag to fit your swing, your rhythm, your tempo, and the way you come across the ball?
Okay, so first of all, there are certain manufacturers that do a better job of making clubs for the higher handicappers, and certain manufacturers that make clubs better for the lower handicappers.
Okay.
But getting back to the answering your question is, I don't think it's critical that you have to have the same brand.
Okay.
I think it's more, because, let me explain to you why. Because most companies, in fact, all companies use the same shaft companies. So we focus mostly on what shaft company and what shaft performance would suit better this client. And different shafts have different balance points. They have different CGs. They got different tip stiffness and tip flexibility and release points. Even if the specs on the spec sheet on their website match on two different company shafts, those shafts are going to feel a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's most important that from the driver all the way down through the wedge, the clubs have a similar feel that matches the individual's body type and rhythm.
And I've seen, David, you say that, and I've seen guys that have in their set of clubs, not only different manufacturers, but more importantly, different grips. I mean, they may use a manufacturer of two or three different kinds, and the grips are not the same. That's going to affect their game, isn't it?
Yes, and here's the funny thing about it. Over the past 30 years, I mean, I see these young individuals coming to me from high school, and they're wearing 14 and 15 shoes, and their hands are bigger. So the standards in grip size has not changed that much. So your typical men's golf grip basically is perfect for a lady today, and it doesn't have anything, no way it fits the average man. So grip size is really critical. And then having the same grip on all your clubs it's not mandatory, but it does help to have consistent feel, so your body doesn't make changes when it grabs the golf club. Because no matter what you do, you think about golf, your mind is not really involved. It's mostly a feel and rhythm and tempo thing.
Right. Yeah, I got to figure out a way for my mind not to be as involved as it is in my golf swing. It's, they always say, think about nothing. And for me, it is extremely hard when I'm over a golf ball to think about nothing.
Well, what we do is train people to stand 10 feet behind the ball and make one mechanical practice swing, and then make a couple of other practice swings with less thought, and then take a deep breath, step up to the ball, take another relaxed practice swing, and just step up and hit it within 5 seconds. What we call that is called the flow down, to where you don't really, you're trying to get your brain to shut down and totally transfer the mechanics in the field.
Yep, I've got to do that more. Well, we're going to have to take a break. David, stay with us. We'll be back with more on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. Stay with us.
I'm Brandel Chambly of Chambly Piece of Golf, and you are listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show with Rich Stiles.
And welcome back. We're glad you're with us. And we're also glad that David Bass of David Bass Golf is with us. And David, we've been talking a lot about getting fitted, using the proper fitting techniques, what you look for and everything, and grips. Why is footwork so important?
Okay, so most golfers are unaware that they have either hereditary or physical restrictions and mannerisms that affect balance.
Okay.
There's a difference between static physical balance and dynamic physical balance, which means the human body may be okay standing still, but once you start moving, it's a totally different ball game. And then you throw into the soup these series of required motor skills that are foreign to you, totally foreign to you as a golfer, that is required in the golf swing. And then if for some reason, this is why the golf club we call a tool is so critical, that the weight is proper and the feel is proper to match the body type, so that you can get the feel. So let's talk about footwork for a moment.
Okay.
If most golfers who have power leaks with their golf swing, which means they're swinging mostly with their arms, they tend to over exaggerate their footwork, which typically will throw their balance off. And number one is get their head past the golf ball before impact.
Okay.
And obviously, good players will keep about 30% of the weight on the ball of the right foot or the trail foot, which allows their head to stay back and over their trail knee at impact. And therefore, the club shallows out and your divots wind up being shallower and the ball goes higher. And when someone misunderstands the footwork, they tend to over-exaggerate their footwork, which throws their spine vertical, their head in front of the ball. The club gets steep, the divot gets steep, and the ball goes low.
Okay. So with our footwork, it's important that we get through the ball and make that turn with our hips when the club is starting to come down. And part of that is very important that our footwork is in line with what's happening in the other parts of our body in our golf swing.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, it works in conjunction with how the shoulders work.
Right.
But again, most people misunderstand how that feels, and they tend to over-exaggerate that driving to the left side. There's an occasion where a person would just stay on their back foot, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That'll take us down some roads I don't want to go into this morning, but hey,
Yeah,
you also told me when we were talking that the USGA contacted you. What was that about?
Well, I'm in the restoration business of restoring classic persimmon golf clubs and hickory golf clubs. I've been doing it for a long time, and this renaissance of the Facebook groups has brought back together a bunch of people across the world who still are fans of the classic McGregors and the classic Wilsons and that type of stuff.
Right.
So, as you know, the USGA is relocating some of their stuff into Pinehurst. One of the gentlemen was down there, and everybody down there told him to contact me about doing some restoration work. So we're going to meet and going to be doing some restoration work for them.
That's pretty cool. You must be excited about that, because I know restoration is something that you've been doing, but what you do when they send you the clubs and what they come out, I mean, it's unbelievable work.
Yeah, it's definitely a craft, and obviously you have to understand what the history is of each club, and you have to understand what the color schemes were, and try to get them back to their original look. And of course, some people want some custom work too. We also make our own custom persimmon woods, and I sell quite a few of those. Yeah,
wouldn't you like to hear, though, from those that are sent to you that are really old, some of the stories? Don't you wish they could talk?
No question. The most gratifying ones are the ones I do for people that are sent to me, and they belong to someone's granddad, or they belong to someone's father.
Right.
And they want to restore them as a memento and hang them on the wall as a memory. So that's the heartfelt part of it.
All right. You told me something, and I don't know if we can talk about it yet, but you mentioned you're working on something to help you improve your putting. Can you talk about that yet?
A little bit. I've been designing this for about 10 years, and with the help of a friend of mine in Australia, we put our heads together, and we've created a putting training device that's going to be pretty fantastic. You can keep it in your golf bag, and it will help you understand the part of the golf hole the golf ball goes into. In other words, if you set up to any golf hole and you're putting toward it, there's about 45% of that hole that the golf ball is never going to go into. And it is typically the lower side of the hole. So what we've done is we've created a putter training device that will sit on top of the hole and actually close off about 45% of the hole. It's going to be called the putting window, and basically it gives you the visual, and you can sit there and hit balls toward it all day long, and then when you change in directions, you can turn it around to a different direction. So prototype should be out very shortly.
Okay. And what do you find, all right, I've got to tell you this. Somebody about a couple of months ago told me that when I putt, I'm aiming too far left. Now, I think I'm obviously aiming to where I want the ball to go. And ever since that, David, it has been in my head, and my putting has just, honestly, to put it in one word, it sucks. And because I've got it in my head that I'm aimed left. So now I open up my club face thinking I'm straight, and I'm not. So what are your suggestions?
Okay, so there's two parts of it. Number one is is you always set your feet up equidistant left. In other words, if you're standing 2 feet away from a golf ball and you pick your high point on your break line, your feet are going to be lined up 2 feet left of that break line.
All right. We've only got about 45 seconds.
That's fine. So most putters have a forward press built into the shaft. So you have to have your hands about a ball, the back of your left hand about a ball in front of the putter for the face to be square. So most likely you've got the shaft too vertical.
Okay. And that's my solution. I will definitely try that. And I'm going to play it off my front foot rather than my back foot or the middle. And hopefully that will improve.
Keep your weight on your left side.
Yeah, you got it. David Bass, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for all your knowledge, all your info, and helping my golf game. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, man. David Bass of David Bass Golf. I mean, this guy can do it all. He's a fitter. He's a restoration guy. And you guys are great for being with us on a Saturday morning on a holiday. Thank you. And listen to us every week, 8 to 9 on ESPNCoastal.com or Back9Boys.com. The Back9 Boys Golf Show. Thank you for listening.
Back9 Boys Golf Show with Rich Stiles. Go to Back9Boys.com for all things golf whenever you want it. We'll be back next week with an all-new Back9 Boys at Back9Boys.com.